Okay, so you're here with the deep dive. And we all know that you want to learn faster and better. And today we're going to be talking about a skill that you all are interested in. That's mastering English. It comes down to one thing: effective daily habits.
It really does.
And we have looked at how habits form and how they can be used for language learning. And I guess the mission is to give you concrete steps you can take to weave English learning into your daily life.
That's it.
In a way that sticks. You know, you don't want to do something for 2 days and then give up on it, and something that gives you noticeable results, but you don't want to feel overwhelmed.
Right.
So how do you know if you're actually getting better? That's a big question.
That's a great point because a lot of times people feel like they're putting in all this work,
Right.
but they're not seeing the results.
Right.
And that can be really demotivating.
Yeah, totally.
So what we're going to do in this deep dive is give you a step-by-step system for building habits that streamline your English learning and give you clear feedback that you are progressing.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The first thing I see is the power of routine. I know it sounds obvious,
It does.
but this is how habits form. Like, think about your own morning routine.
Yeah.
You probably do the same things in the same order pretty much every day
Right.
without even thinking about it.
That's the idea, that you can use this natural human tendency for routine to your advantage.
Yeah.
You already have these patterns in your day. You're already doing certain things at certain times. And if you can integrate English learning into these pre-existing slots, you're so much more likely for it to stick.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So it's like, instead of just saying, oh, today I'm going to do some English study, which, let's be honest, is probably the first thing to go if we get busy, you're
Okay.
saying we should tie it to something we are already doing consistently.
Exactly. You're looking for those natural scenes in your day where you can just weave in the English practice. You're not looking for huge blocks of time, just little places here and there. Think about your morning routine, your evening routine, those times when you're kind of on autopilot.
Yeah, totally. So give us a tangible example. How could one of our listeners put this habit stacking into action with English?
Okay, so a really practical example we found is to link vocabulary practice to teeth brushing.
Okay.
Most people brush their teeth twice a day. It's something you do every day. You probably don't need to think about it too much. And while you're doing it, you can put some sticky notes up on your bathroom mirror with vocabulary words.
Yeah, that's really clever.
So while you're brushing your teeth, you're also reviewing vocabulary.
Yeah, and it's a few minutes that would otherwise be passive. So it's not like adding another chore to your day.
Right.
It's just you're piggybacking it onto something you're already doing.
Exactly. So it's about finding that right fit, a place in your routine where your new English habit can just slide right in.
Yeah, I love that.
And then it becomes so much easier to start it and to maintain it.
Okay, all right. Step 2, start small.
Yeah.
I think this is so important because when we have that initial motivation and enthusiasm, we want to make huge changes right away, and then we get overwhelmed.
I think it's counterintuitive because we think more is better.
Right.
But when it comes to forming habits, smaller is more sustainable.
Yeah, it's like that quote, how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. So true. So it's about breaking those big, scary language learning goals into smaller pieces.
Yeah. Break them down into these bite-sized habits that are much more likely to stick. And what we mean by stick is they become a regular part of your routine until they become automatic.
Right.
Like making your morning coffee.
Right.
You don't have to motivate yourself to make your morning coffee, do you? You just do it.
I do it, yeah.
The goal is for your new habits to reach that same level of automaticity.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So give us some examples. For learning English, what are some small habits our listener could adopt?
So instead of saying, I'm going to read this entire novel in English,
Right.
start by reading just one page every day.
Okay.
Or for 5 minutes a day. Or if your goal is vocabulary, instead of trying to learn 50 words every day, just focus on 5.
Yeah.
5 new words each day. And again, you can tie these to your existing routines. Maybe review those 5 words on your commute.
Yeah.
Or while you're walking the dog. Or even after your vocabulary practice at the mirror.
Right. It makes it much less daunting. It's not, I have to carve out this huge block of time for studying.
Right.
It's just these little tiny things
Exactly.
that add up.
Yeah.
All right. Step 3, do it daily.
Do it daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where the research comes in. British researchers found that it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days for a habit to become automatic.
Wow.
That's a big range.
Yeah.
But the key takeaway is automatic.
Right.
So we want to get to the point where you're using English without having to think about it.
Right.
Without having to translate in your head. It just
Mhm.
becomes natural.
Yeah, that's what we all want.
Right. And in language learning, we call this automaticity.
Right.
The ability to use the language without having to think about it too much.
Yeah.
And the way to get there is daily practice.
Okay, so even on those days when you don't feel motivated or like you're not really making progress, you should still do it just to solidify those connections in your brain.
Yes, every single day, do something. Even if it's just a little bit. It all adds up. Think of it like watering a plant. Even a small amount of water every day helps it to grow.
I like that. Okay, step number 4. Track your progress and celebrate your successes. This is something I think a lot of people can relate to. I love the analogy about being envious of basketball players
Right.
because you can see if the ball goes in the basket,
Right.
but language learning, you don't get that immediate feedback. You could be putting in all this time taking lessons, practicing, and still feel like you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, it's hard to see the progress sometimes. And that's why tracking is so important.
Yeah.
Because when you visually document your efforts, you're creating your own feedback system.
Yeah, and you were talking about how you stopped writing down your notes for language learning,
Yeah.
and it really affected you negatively.
It really did. Yeah, because when I was keeping track of my learning, new grammar points, new vocabulary, it was really motivating to look back and see how much I had learned.
Yeah.
But when I stopped doing that, I felt lost. Even though I was still learning, it was harder to see the progress.
Yeah, I bet.
And that's where Habit Tracker comes in.
Right.
It's like a visual reminder
Yeah.
that you're doing the work.
So it serves two purposes. It reminds you to do the habit,
Yes.
and it's like proof that you're moving forward. Like every time you mark a day it's complete or write down some new vocabulary, you're documenting your journey.
Exactly. And on those days when you're feeling a bit down, you can look back at the tracker and see, oh yeah, I've actually done a lot. I have learned a lot of new words.
Yeah.
You can really see how far you've come.
Yeah.
And when you see that progress, celebrate it.
Yeah.
No matter how small it might seem, acknowledge it, be proud of yourself.
Love that. Okay, step 5, use yet and but.
This is a good one.
It's a really interesting mental strategy. So how can these two little words help?
So when you hit a wall,
Yeah.
when you're feeling discouraged, which we all do, by the way,
Yeah.
yet and but can help you to reframe negative thoughts and to look at things in a more positive light.
So give us some concrete examples. How could our listener use yet and the but in their English learning journey?
Okay, so for example, instead of thinking, I still can't understand native speakers,
Yeah.
this is impossible. You can say, I can't fully understand native speakers yet,
Yeah.
but I will improve my listening comprehension if I keep practicing every day.
Yeah.
If I keep listening to podcasts in English.
Yeah.
If I keep watching videos in English.
Yeah.
So it's not a statement of failure. It's a statement of, I'm not there yet,
Yeah.
but I will get there. Or if you think my pronunciation is terrible,
Yeah.
you can say, my pronunciation isn't where I want it to be yet,
Yeah.
but it will get better with practice.
I see.
So you're acknowledging where you are now,
Right.
but you're also acknowledging that you have the potential to improve.
Yeah. So it's not a dead end. It's like there's hope.
Exactly. And the habit tracker helps with this
Ah.
because you can look back and see, oh yeah, I have been practicing
Yeah.
and I am getting better.
Yeah, that's a great point. Okay, so we talked about this free resource that we have.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
We have made a free downloadable resource, which is on our website.
Awesome.
We'll put a link in the show notes. And this resource has two main parts. The first part is a habit tracker.
Okay.
So you can choose which habit you want to focus on.
Right.
And then you track your progress every day for a month. Just check off each day that you complete the habit.
So that's the visual reminder? That's
That's-
it, like we were just talking about.
Exactly. And the second part is for vocabulary building.
Right.
So each week you can write down any new English words or phrases you've learned.
Right.
And we've included space for you to write example sentences. So you're not just memorizing the words, you're actually using them.
That's so important.
It is. And at the end of each month, there's a space to reflect. So you can look back and see how you're doing. Which words do you feel comfortable using now? Which words do you still need to practice?
Yeah, so you're building that automaticity
Yes.
by using the words over and over again.
Exactly.
I love it. It sounds like a really practical and helpful resource.
I hope so.
I encourage everyone to download it.
Yes, please do.
And start using it. And you said there's a place where people can share their progress.
Yes, if you're watching this as a video, you
Uh-oh.
can share your progress in the comment section below.
Awesome.
Tell us how you're using the habit tracker
Yeah.
and how it's helping you. We'd love to hear your stories and celebrate your success with you.
Okay, so let's just recap the 5 steps to building those strong daily habits for English learning.
Okay.
Number 1, stack your habits. Number 2, start small. Number 3, do it daily. Number 4, track your progress and celebrate your success. And number 5, use yet and but.
Yes.
So those are the steps. The key now is to put them into action.
Yes. Take these steps.
Yeah.
Download the resource and start building those habits today.
Yes.
So with these strategies in mind,
Yeah.
here's a final thought for you to think about.
Okay.
What small English learning habit
Mm-hmm.
are you going to start stacking into your routine today to unlock real and lasting progress?
That's a great question. I love
I
it.
think it's a good one.
Okay. Thanks so much for coming on the deep dive.
My pleasure.
And we will see you next time.
See you next time.